going to have a look at percentages today. Now, we're going to start with a level of percentages that you should know already. We're going to start with how you find a percentage of an amount. Now, you'll never get asked a question at National 5 level where it's purely just calculate the percentage of an amount, but you can get asked it as part of another question. I've seen it asked as part of a volume question before, and I think there was also one that was part of a scientific notation question. So it is something you are expected to know, but it is really National 4 level. But we'll go over it here, just in case. Okay, we'll start with a non-calculator then. If you're asked to find a percentage of something in your non-calculator paper, easiest way to deal with a percentage in a non-calculator way is to change it from a percentage to a fraction. Now these are your common percentages as fractions. You should know what these ones are, hopefully. 50%, same as a half. 25% is a quarter. 75%, 3 lots of 25. So it's 3 quarters. A couple you might not know. 33 and a third percent. 33 and a third goes into 100 exactly 3 times. So that will be 1/3. 66 and 2/3 is 2/3. 20%. 20 goes into 100 5 times, it would be 1/5. 40% is double that. 60% is 3 times. 80% is 4 times. 10%, 10 goes into 100 10 times, it's a tenth. 30% is 3 lots of that. 70% is 7. 90%, 9. Okay. If we know what our percentages are as a fraction, we can easily work them out. Let's do a couple of examples then. First one, 20% is 625. 20% is the same as 1/5. So we're finding 1/5 of 625. 625 divided by 5. It's non-calculator. It's not no working. You can always write down working. Is 125. It's asking me about pounds. So my answer must have pounds in it as well. That'll be 66 and 2/3%. 66 and 2/3 is the same as 2/3. So we're dividing by the bottom, timesing by the top. 3 into 129 is 43. Double up, get 2/3. Get 86. This time we'll talk about grams. They're the common ones that we can easily change into fractions, but sometimes it's easier just to use 10%, 1% to help us find answers. Because 10% and 1% are really easy to find, because dividing by 10, dividing by 100, you're just moving a decimal place. Okay, so let's try these ones then. 45% of 320. I'm going to start by finding 10% of 320. Now 10% is a tenth. To find a tenth, we're just removing our 0. So that'd be £32. If I want 40%, it's going to be 4 times that. Because 40% is 4 times bigger than 10%. So that's £128. 5% is half of £32, because 5% is half of 10%. So it's £16. So 45%, there's my 40%, there's my 5%. So 45%, I add those two together, because 40 add 5 is 45. Oh, can't write there. Is 144. 8B, 3.5% of 128. This time instead of starting with 10%, I'm going to start with 1%. To find 1% of something, you divide by 100. Divide by 100, you move a decimal point in 2 spaces. So 1% would be 1.28. 3% then. Oh, that went wrong. Let's try that again. 3% 3 lots. 3 2s is 6, add 2 is 8, 3 3s is 3, so 3% would be 3.84. 0.5% is a half of 1%, so it would be 0.64. So to get 3.5%, we're going to add our answer to 3% and our answer to 0.5%. More room again, and that'll give me our final answer. Okay, so that should be a wee reminder of how we calculate percentages without a calculator. Let's look at with a calculator now. Okay, calculator on the go. Here we go. So Renfrewshire Council decided to raise council tax by 4.2%. Last year the Reid family paid £850 for council tax. How much would they expect to pay this year? Okay, so 4.2% of £850. That's what I want to find out. 4.2%, percent means out of 100. So we divide by 100 times by 850. What you can also do, if you prefer, is you can change your 4.2% straight into a decimal. That's the same thing. When you take a percentage and divide it by 100, that is you changing it into a decimal. That would give you 0.042 times 850 is £35.70. That doesn't mean they now pay £35.70. That means they pay £35.70 extra. So let's add it on. It's me £885.70. I just use my calculator to do that one. One of these things if you've got it. I want to show you how to do this one a slightly different way as well. When you're looking at this one here, we've got our full amount. So we had 100%. They then raised it by 4.2%. So we've now got 104.2%. 104.2% of 850. Percent means out of 100. It doesn't matter that that number is now over 100. A lot of people think percent means up to 100. It doesn't. It means out of 100. Per 100. We do this one on our calculator. Using the wrong calculator here. I'm using the one on my desk rather than this one. There we go. That's better. 1.042 times 850, not 580, 850, and it'll get us straight to the final answer without having to then do the adding on at the end. We're going to look at more like this later on. Okay, it's worth noticing it now. Another couple of ways that you should have used percentages before. Changing from fractions to percentages. Again, using this idea that percent is out of 100. If I want to change fractions to percentages, if we have it without a calculator, our aim is to make our denominator of our fraction 100. Might not be able to go to 100 straight from 80, but we see if we can simplify down first. So 48 over 80, both top and bottom, can be divided by 8. Divide top and bottom by 8. 48 divided by 8 is 6. 80 divided by 8 is 10. That's 6/10. Remember, my aim is to make my denominator 100. If I've made this denominator 100, I've gone from 10 to 100 times by 10. So I do the same to the top. If it's 60 out of 100, it must be 60%. Now for ones like this, you might have recognised it at 6/10, that must be 60%, and that's fine. Any way that you can recognise what it is, that's absolutely fine. B, 24 over 36, 12 goes into both 24 and 36. I'm going to divide top and bottom by 12. That gives me 2/3. 2/3 is one that I should recognise. 2/3 is 66 and 2/3%. Okay, with a calculator then, if you want to change from a fraction to a percentage with a calculator. A fraction just means divide. So if I do 37 divided by 40, that gets me a decimal. That's 0.925. To get from a decimal to a percentage, we times by 100. Second one, 127 out of 140. .9071. If I times this one by 100 on my calculator, I get 90.71 decimal place. Okay, I'll leave you to try some of these.